They've never held each other in the middle of the DEO.
I am pretty sure they have.
You're really going to argue with me, who has probably seen their scenes 12 times to your one?
I am positive. There's at least one scene. Alright guys, we're Nerd Jams. Welcome back to another review, or I guess recap session of the Legends of Flarrow.
Super Flarrow.
Okay.
You can't forget Supergirl.
Legends of Super Flarrow. Alright. So this week we had episodes 12 for Supergirl and Arrow. So it was only a 2 episode week. Before we get into that...
Episode 13 for Arrow.
Oh, it's episode 13? Oh,
yeah, Flash and Arrow are one ahead.
Oh, okay.
Of Legends and Supergirl.
Alright, well there you go. Before we get into that, we want to, I guess there's an announcement last week that the CW is adding another show to the Arrowverse, which is Black Lightning. Yeah.
My Sai is not the character. I have no idea who the character is. Jadon says he's not horrible. My Sai is because they have too many shows already. When is it going to air? I mean, I'm pretty sure this is the last season of The 100.
So that was part of the news I actually heard this week, was that instead of doing a 5-episode week, having 5 superhero shows, from the sounds of it, it's going to be a shorter season, and it's going to be maybe in the off season.
Oh, so in the summer. That's what I called.
So a lot, yeah. It makes me
that much happier. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is that a lot of times these. If you're going to throw in a new show, make it a 10 or a 16 episode season and put it in your summer season. ABC did it with Rookie Blue, great show, had 5 seasons on it, and they had to wait till the summer to come out, but it was great.
Yeah. And I've gotten into this whole mindset of we don't need 20-something odd episodes per season anymore. I used to be really for it, but now thinking about it, I'd really just prefer that they have a story, don't waste any time, and just do that story, tell that story, and then move on to another season. So I actually really like this idea.
So basically he is a fan of Netflix?
Yeah, definitely. But for people who don't know, Black Lightning, he's actually one of my favorite characters growing up. He's actually a really important black character, but he's never really had his own comic book. I mean, I think he's had 2 runs. They didn't last very long because no one bought them. Basically, it's a guy named Jefferson Pierce. He's a teacher, and the premise, I guess, they're introducing is that he comes back to his town, and it's been overrun by a gang, and he's at the point where he's going to stop being a superhero, but I guess he's going to start up now. And he has 2 daughters who are both superheroes as well. So it's going to be another family thing. But
like The Incredibles?
Yeah, but probably not nearly as good. But yeah, so it sounds like there are going to be 2 main characters as well. I guess that's the premise, and I don't really see what they can do with it, really, because he doesn't have really any of his own villains, except for a guy named Tobias Well, and they kind of did that with Arrow with Tobias Church.
That's a great minute.
Yeah, I think that's kind of who they kind of transplanted into Arrow, and just changed his name.
Shocking.
Yeah. Yeah, they've never done that before.
Oh, they've never completely changed the character and kept the name before either. Supergirl. We're going to discuss that in this one.
And Arrow. Mm-hmm. Well, Black Canary.
Oh, yeah.
But also, speaking of Supergirl, so I got some news on the musical episode.
Oh, okay.
And while I'm still not excited at all to watch this, I am excited because I did hear that the 2 songwriters for La La Land are doing a song.
Okay. Have they announced if it's going to be all original songs, if it's going to be covers, a mix?
It sounds like, from what I'm hearing, it's going to be originals, because they have them they're making their song, and then the main actress from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, that's a musical show.
That is?
Yeah, on the CW. Yeah.
She's I have no clue.
they hired her to write a song, and I'm actually excited because when I heard this, because she was on, I guess she worked for Robot Chicken.
Oh,
and so she went to one of her bosses, Tom Root, and they made a song together called Super Friends.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm actually excited to hear those songs, but I'm not excited to see the episode at all.
I have been, totally off topic, but we have some time this week. I have been listening to both the Buffy musical soundtrack and the Grey's Anatomy musical soundtrack on repeat this week. I don't know why, but I have been. Buffy did original songs. Grey's did iconic songs that the show made famous by using them in scenes, and it didn't really fit. It doesn't really make sense, and even in a fantastical show, like a superhero show, it makes more sense to have original songs.
Yeah.
Especially if the Music Meister is anything like the antagonist on the Buffy episode, who comes in and he makes you sing your feelings. Everything, all those secrets that you've been keeping, everybody starts revealing. Haha, that's a line. Stuff. But Joss Whedon, amazing, wrote those songs.
Sure.
Be quiet.
I don't hate him. I just think he's overrated. So, Supergirl, season 2, episode 12. It is called Luthers.
What did you think?
Garbage.
Oh my gosh, why?
Absolute garbage.
Guys, this might be our first fight, or finally our first good argument on this segment. Alright, let's hear it.
So I got all my notes on here. You probably can't see it or making it down because I write really tiny. But usually I have one side of what's good and what's bad. It's all bad, with a couple segments of good.
Well, then good. We have a little extra time. So hit me. Let's go.
So I guess the first part was, did they start out with a flashback? Yeah, they started out with a flashback.
Hey, but I called it. Lex made an appearance.
Yeah. I just don't think that we'll ever see grown-up Lex.
I doubt it as well, especially if they're probably making her evil. Yeah. We'll get there.
But then I didn't think about Superman, but that's just because I think that just because, one, there's a really big property and there's a lot of legal stuff that they have to go through to do it. And what I was thinking with Superman was that I didn't think we'd ever see him because they'd have to get someone really iconic to play his part, but then they just didn't. I mean, Tyler Hoechlin's a nice actor, but yeah, they... Really...
But he's no Brandon Ruth.
I mean, Brandon Ruth was actually really good as Superman.
Or Nicolas Cage.
Again, though, Academy Award actor, so...
He's not Superman. Sorry. Anyways, continue.
So I guess the first thing that I didn't like was, I can just bring this up because it goes throughout the whole episode, but the depiction of the Luthers is garbage. They should have really got John Glover, who was Lionel Luthor in Smallville, and just throwing him in there. But the first thing I saw was Daddy Warbucks comes walking in.
Yeah.
And he's just like this sniveling, subservient guy.
How is he subservient? The one thing he says is he puts Lillian in her place, and
not really though.
She says, "We talked about this. We decided we weren't doing it," and he says, "And now we are." He foot down. No, you're not.
Not really.
No questions about it.
It wasn't really. There was nothing authoritative about it though. It was just like, it was just like, oh, we're doing this. And
so Lillian is always over the top, and he's not enough.
Yeah. I just didn't like their depiction of him. Not that we saw very much of him, but it just wasn't, because later on they say how they talk about how he was very more authoritative, when Lillian's talking about it, he became did she say became abusive or something, or?
I don't think it was abusive, but they became distant, and he felt guilt-ridden every time he looked at Lena. But at the same time, they've also mentioned in previous episodes that how he was always affectionate towards Lena, and now with the reveal that I saw coming a mile away, that makes more sense. That's his flesh and blood. It's his real daughter. Yeah. And it also explains why she conveniently also had an L name. I'm sure he had a hand in that.
Yeah. That was also a storyline that you can see coming from forever away. But just to move on, I didn't like their depiction of Lionel. And like their depiction of the family. These people are supposed to be... Lex is the smartest man on the planet. They're like, no, wait, there's Lex Luthor, there's Bruce Wayne, and then there's Michael Holt, Mr. Terrific. 3 smartest people on the planet. None of these people are smart, or they don't come off as intelligent. At least for Lena at the end. They just don't come off as calculating or anything. It just come off as, just regular villains. And yeah, they just don't come off as very mastermindy, I guess, to me. So that was one of my complaints. What did you think about the beginning of the whole family dynamic?
I liked it. I liked seeing the flashback, and I very much so disagree with you. I don't know the Luthors as well as you do, so maybe that's why I don't see it as much. And I see a teenager who is very prim and proper, and they're playing chess, and chess is a symbol of Brainiac in every literature, anywhere. They always talk about how you have to be calculating and you have to think ahead and strategic. So I think that was also a way of showing it, because we got 1.5 scenes with him. This show isn't gonna. Lex Luthor isn't in Supergirl. He is in Superman. Yeah. So you're not gonna get a huge depiction of him.
No, I wasn't expecting that, but it was just their family dynamic as a whole. They didn't come off as very intelligent or calculating or anything like that. They just came off as nothing separated them between. There's no separation between them and like Astra and Non in them. They all seem to be on like the same level of villainy, when it should be villains and then Luthor's up here. Just like it should be Batman's villains and Joker up here. There should be like a clear distinction between these people, and I don't know.
But I did enjoy the scene, seeing that side and getting to know Lena, who is not a series regular, who's only been in 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that means we might get a Maggie Sawyer backstory. Maybe. But anyways, because Chris Wood and Floriana Lima, who play... it is Chris Wood, right?
Yeah.
Mon-El and Maggie Sawyer are both series regulars this year. They were announced before the season started. And I'm assuming they replaced Callista Flockhart and Lucy Lane / Maxwell Lord.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm hoping that's a side note, leads into Maggie Sawyer. But I didn't love this episode, but I've talked many times about how I like more of the relationships and the drama, not necessarily drama, but like the life stories. I don't want it to all be punching and quick fixes. And I thought they did a really good job with the pacing of the episode.
Oh yeah,
the writing.
Pacing was really good.
Yeah, like the way that they were able to tell the story and then throw in the action here and there. And I actually didn't hate Guardian's scene as much.
I didn't, but
I hated James.
There's a big problem with it. Because he's sitting there standing in the middle of a prison.
Yeah.
And it's like, how did you get in there?
Agreed. I have to talk about the biggest plot hole, so do not let me forget before we go to Arrow. It's pissing me off. We're not going to talk about it right now. But like the fight scene with him and Metallo was really good, and I liked how when Lena's looking, like you see the flashes of the synthetic kryptonite. It was really really well done.
Yeah, that was
However, I hated James.
Yeah. So there's 2 things that was wrong. One was in the prison cell, and then one was right after. But so one thing that was wrong was that somehow he knows that their kryptonite wasn't. There was something wrong with the kryptonite. Yeah. Explain that to me, James. How did you know there's something wrong with the kryptonite? Because the only indication that we get is Metallo starts walking, and then he seems kind of uncomfortable for a second, and then he starts walking again.
And he starts to glow, but that's to the audience.
Yeah, and so James didn't see that, so that was complete garbage.
If anything, Supergirl should have noticed it because she wasn't being weakened as badly. That's the first thing I noticed. I was like, why isn't she... Like, when she approaches him and standing that close to him, she wasn't being weakened at all. And so I was like, there you go. Doesn't have to be James. Doesn't have to be Guardian.
Yeah. And then his other thing that I had a problem with was when he and Kara and Snapper Kara are all talking, he tells her, you should just change your opinion. What was his wording? He says, he's talking about, I think she's guilty, and you should too.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Shut up. Get out of here.
And he's just blatantly writing off Lena Luthor for being a Luthor. Kara, someone, finally recognizes that Lena saved the entire alien population. Supergirl did not do that. John Jones did not do that. Lena freaking Luthor betrayed her mother. And instead of saying that she was heroic, which is what Kara said, and she was... He says, no, if she can betray her own mother, she can betray her friends. No, James, what the heck?
See,
and then he's all, you can trust her, but you can't trust me as Guardian.
that was one of the things. That's just one of the many things of why I hated this episode, because the writing was crappy. It was just really bad.
Some of it. I thought a lot of the exchanges between Lena and Lillian were really well written.
Yeah, it was just
Lillian was definitely playing her from the get-go. I knew
that's the only problem I had with it, was that it's so cliche and that's so obvious. It's just like, okay.
She's been dying for this mother's affection forever, and then Kara tells her, my parents are dead, and
it's just hard to keep that in mind when you've seen it, like, literally 100 times over. It's just really hard to,
no matter how old we get, no matter how strong we are, we still crave the acceptance of our parents, I guess.
But while we're talking about the newspaper and their whole conversation there, this is my whole problem. This is one of my biggest problems, is that Kara is so, she's so, I guess, concerned over what the headlines are reading, that she's doing nothing to change it.
Yes.
She's going around trying to get everyone to change their opinions, when it's like, you should be out there investigating and getting hard evidence. It doesn't matter what the headline says today. It's what it says, when it comes out. In the end. And that was another stupid part, was that she was like, at the end when she comes up to snap her car, and she's like, oh, so this is just confirmation bias. And it's like, no, you idiot. This is what we had this day. This is the evidence we had. This is what we went with. This is what the evidence says now. This is what we're going with. So that made her come off as an idiot, really.
However, why in the hell is Snapper Carr confirming guilt? That's tabloid crap right there. Like this, if you run the headline, run the story, but you run it with the facts. Shows guilty or possibly guilty. She's not proven guilty. Yes, there's hard evidence, but it should have a question mark on it.
Yeah.
Is she a true Luther, or Luther's true colors revealed? Question mark. So that pissed me off. Yeah. Also, is this a newspaper or is it freaking Catco?
That's what I was wondering.
Because the magazine. Because when she shows.
Because it's a magazine.
She's reading Catco magazine at the end.
It's like you don't do a magazine every time a story comes out. They need to decide what they're doing here at this company.
Yes, exactly.
But bad writing. Let's jump back to the beginning. So the whole party scene, where they're at the bar or whatever.
Oh.
There is no way that everyone does not know that Alex has a girlfriend. What is this? Like, no one has noticed them holding each other in the middle of the DEO, whispering sweet nothings to each other?
They've never held each other in the middle of the DEO. You're really going to argue with me, who has probably seen their scenes 12 times to your one?
I am positive. There's at least one scene where
they absolutely positively have not. They have not.
Okay.
They've not even hugged in the DEO.
They have to.
Nope.
They have to.
They have not.
They have hugged.
Nope. First scene in the DEO, Maggie's getting stitched up and she leaves Alex there. Second scene in the DEO, she is getting stitched up, and they have the talk when, anyways, she doesn't. They kissed in the bar.
Okay, for sake of time, I'll agree, whatever, they haven't. But it's still pretty, it's not hard to see. It's not hard to see.
It isn't, it isn't. But remember, they obviously haven't seen Maggie that much, because the one and only time Wynn has ever said her name was your cop friend.
She's always there.
She's always there with Alex and Supergirl as a cop. They think that she is the liaison now. That's probably how they bring her in. Alex, you've only known that I've ever dated women.
Yeah.
I show up with a guy, are you automatically going to assume that I'm dating him?
No, but it's the interactions that they have with each other. This way they treat each other.
But they don't see that. Wynn and James have not seen them interact like that. She hasn't even interacted like that in front of Kara. That we've seen. I promise you. I've seen these scenes.
Okay, but still, it came off as very...
funny.
It came off as very gimmicky, though. It's just like... Because it's like the whole... a very CW thing to do. It's like, where they mistake a woman for a man. Where it's like, oh, where's your boyfriend? Where's your boyfriend? When are we going to see this man that you were going out with? Who is this guy?
I agree.
Oh, it's a woman!
I agree on one hand, because I just watched that scene a minute ago and I was giving myself a little refresher. Because at first, when it happened, I was like, this is funny. But the writing is bad, because who's going to say, yeah, I'm really excited to see Alex Guys. Do you know what he does? Alex's boyfriend? Alex's man. You're not gonna say that.
No.
But what I did like about it was Kara's reactions to them. Because I can't tell if she's like, oh, or if she's just trying not to laugh. And when she's like, cop.
I don't even remember her reaction because I was rolling my eyes.
But
it was more. That's just more of the stuff that made me not want to watch the show before.
Mm-hmm. It was a little over the top. It was a little too much.
Yeah.
They were reaching hard. Also, real quick, and I know this is probably just gonna be me, a little tidbit. When they walk away, I thought it was really cute that Maggie, tries to reach out to Win and, hey, do you play pool? Because it's
Yeah.
we've all been there. You get introduced to the group of friends. James walks up to Kara and goes, so does that cop know I'm Guardian? You just learned her damn name. Excuse me, you've just been introduced to her again. You know her name. You know she's a detective. You could have even said Alex's girlfriend. Who the hell says that? Does that cop know I'm... Does Alex's girlfriend know I'm Guardian? Hey, does Maggie know I'm Guardian?
I don't have a problem with how he said it, but more that he said it and now everyone in the bar probably knows he's Guardian.
Well, again, those are those plot holes. Like when Kara gets drunk, no human can handle this, and then she's drunk and, well, I'm not flying home, that's for sure.
Oh, which this reminds me, Kara completely reveals Clark's identity to Maggie. Because they're walking, it's pretty soon after that, or was it after the prison break? But they're walking, her and Alex are walking, and then Maggie's right behind them.
Oh, yeah.
And she says something about Clark being Superman, and it's like, well, thanks for sharing.
She does.
Yeah. She does. Go watch it again.
Oh, well. Maggie's so tiny. Floriana Lima is a small human being.
She is. Let's talk about the prison break, or Lillian's, I guess, escape from custody, or the court.
The courtroom.
Oh, so actually before that, so we get introduced to Metallo, who is another freaking supervillain in a regular prison.
They took his kryptonite heart out.
It shouldn't matter, because he has...
what strength is he going to have without it?
But he's still a freaking cyborg.
But he doesn't have any power.
He's an augmented, enhanced human.
Okay, but it's like Iron Man without his chest. He doesn't have any powers.
It shouldn't matter, though, if they have their powers or not. They should still be in a location where...
Well, maybe they will figure this out,
if
because they
keep
keep
their
getting
powers,
out.
they can't get out.
Yeah.
But
they're treating him like a human. Maybe that's what it is. The American justice system. They're in holding.
Screw the American justice system.
And maybe he was just in holding to be going into his court date. You bring him out of maximum...
Still, it should be. He should not be in a...
Hey, at least I have answers for that plot hole, because I have a plot hole you are not going to have an answer for. But let's talk about the vault. Absolutely saw that coming. That is why Lillian was getting Lena. Is that she needed her for something. And it was to open the vault. What is in the box?
What's in the box? I can't remember that part.
So the war suit got blown up. So they just...
power suit?
They just, what?
The power suit?
Yeah, power suit, excuse me. Got blown up, so that was just for show. We saw another Black Mercy, couple other things, but then Lillian's just whole body lights up at the box and my beautiful boy, you finished it or whatever. And then she takes it with her.
I'd have to watch the scene again because I was writing as I was watching. But I'm so glad it didn't show anyone using the power suit.
Yeah.
It looks stupid. Yeah, that was really obvious that she was just going to use Lena for that. It's this kind of still bogus that the whole framing her, Lena, with that video, it's...
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's convenient. Those are convenient things that I talk about that. So, here, let's go with the small plot hole. The kryptonite's gonna explode, and Kara's the only one who's really going to definitely die, even if she's not within blast range, because of the gas. Why the fetch is Jean Jones not going in the first place?
Thank you!
Why is he has to show up to save her? Why are you not... What? Why? It's so that they can have their moment, and it's a good moment, and Supergirl has to sacrifice herself, and all that good stuff. And
I feel like
fine.
part of it is the whole men can't be seen winning in this show, where you never see a man really win.
Or maybe can't step up and...
Yeah.
Okay.
It's that whole thing. It's like, because that was my whole thing was, why was John not there with her in the first place?
Well, at least with her, if not go in her place.
Yeah, yeah.
At least with her. It was very convenient, again, just to have him swoop in and save the day last minute.
And that presents this whole problem of they shouldn't have introduced him in the first place. Because then, all these, I know, I love seeing Martian Manhunter.
No.
I love seeing him.
We're gonna jump right into my plot hole after this.
Okay, but it's just, you get all these arbitrary reasons of why he can't be there or why he is there, and it's just so... Okay, let's look at Smallville, how they introduced him. He was like this mysterious figure who was watching out for Clark, and he would show up whenever he was really needed, like whenever Clark was like seconds away from dying, and then he would show up,
of course,
and then he would leave. He wasn't like a main character where he would stay, and then it's like, oh, we have to make an excuse for him to leave, and then why he's in this episode and why he's not in this episode.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of just regretting that they put him in here.
Here's mine. He's freaking psychic. You have Cadmus's head of the organization. Why do you not know where their bases are, where Jeremiah is, how to go get him? He is freaking psychic. Why can't he go visit Lena and see that she didn't do it? There are so many plot holes. And then they bring up the psychic abilities again. When he said, oh, you knew?
Yeah.
Of course, I'm psychic.
Because it's this whole thing where he's like, oh, it wouldn't be proper for me to use my mind control or whatever. It's
yeah.
Like, okay, first of all, BS, because you use it whenever you want for little trivial things like Alex being...
Why are you popping into Alex's head to see what she likes Maggie? Here's the thing, so, and again, you can't... There's a fine line of changing things for TV from the comic books, because some things are too extreme in the comic books. So if you're going to bring this character in and have him be huge, you need to make somewhat of a change to his psychic abilities. You do. You need to limit them.
Yeah.
So make it to its physical touch. Make it so that it leaves something. Or even slip a line in there that he can't go to Lillian and read her mind. Let's put it this way. Let's give a scene where Alex asks him to do it. And he says, I can't because I am a member of this government. I have to stay within the law.
Yeah, that's...
Something.
I mean, that's, again, Smallville did it better. Because I think he had to touch people first to use his power, his mind control. And then when they did introduce him, they introduced the idea that to save Clark, he had to basically give up his powers and he had to be a human and he had to figure out how to be a human. Okay. So he couldn't just use his powers or not use his powers whenever he wanted to. So, again, Smallville did it better.
One of the biggest things about season 1 is the angst between the three characters and when they would have that disconnect and that, like when Kara still thought that Jean was evil, but Alex knew his secret. And then when Kara thought that Alex killed Astra, those things. You had a really great opportunity to have a rift between Alex and Jean by her asking, find my dad. And he refuses to use his powers, and he has legitimate logical reasons. So you could have had it. You just missed opportunities for better stories, better storylines.
Yeah.
But running low on time, we've jumped down a bit and got my big plot hole out of there. Let's touch on Mon-El and Kara and Lena and Kara real quick, and then I want to talk about James Olsen.
Okay.
Alright?
Okay. So let's go with Mon-El and Kara first.
I actually kind of started to think, oh, they're cute. They're both awkward. And I do like Chris Wood. I just don't see them romantically. For a split second, I started to kind of see it. And then she had a scene with Katie McGrath. And I was just like...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I still like them together. I'm sick of the whole will they, won't they.
Oh my gosh.
And it's funny that they actually said
kissing.
That. It's funny that they actually said that, but at the same time, it's not because they continue to do that.
Yes.
So I was going to ask you a question. Moving on to Lena and Kara. Do you feel like they're queerbaiting? Because I feel like they are.
Okay. Who's queerbaiting?
The show.
Like the writers?
Yeah.
So you think that that it is directions that are there, that they are...
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
we've talked about Katie McGrath.
Yeah, she has chemistry with everyone.
She really, truly does.
But it feels like from a directing point that it's being pushed.
Okay. I don't know if I call it a theory or a headcanon, and I don't think it's going to happen. and we talked about this, how I'm very wishy-washy. Me and my Gemini ways. So here, I'll give you my headcanon, and then I'll tell you why I don't know if it's going to happen. So we've got the great representation in Alex and Kyler Lee and Floriana Lima doing wonderful things, and Sanvers and this thing. And I am wondering if they're going to make Lena Luthor evil, and it's going to be because it is unrequited feelings.
Oh, please no. Please no. No!
So maybe if that reveal happens, then no, I don't think it's queerbaiting. However, there's going to be such outrage because you can't please everybody. And she's a great actress and a good character, and good characters can go bad. And the Luthors are unstable.
Yeah.
So people who are unstable get, oh my god, this word is overused and I'm going to use it right now, but they get triggered. And that could be her trigger. That she puts herself out there with Kara, not Supergirl, or with Supergirl, and gets rejected, and then that's just too much rejection in her life. And that's where I wouldn't think it's queerbaiting then, and I would be okay with that. Not because we have great representation with Sanvers, but it does help. I don't know.
If they did go with that, I'd call it bad writing.
Yeah.
Just because they don't need to go down that road, because they are already setting up that has been evil this entire time, and that it's been a lifelong thing, because that's what the Luthors are. I mean, that's one of their big story points, is that through the abuse of them as children and through corrupt parents, that they have grown up this way. I mean, that's what they did expertly and beautifully with Smallville, was to show that Lex was a pretty good guy at the beginning, but through the manipulations of his father and just the Luthor madness, he drove himself crazy and became evil. You don't need this whole. It's just.
I really think
contrived.
It's interesting that you see it as well, because clearly, I can find the subtext. Before you had all the representation that you have now, it's still not great. That's all you got back when I was fangirling back in the day. Faith and Buffy, subtext like crazy. And there's even articles and interviews with Eliza Dushku who says she played that shit up. Played that up. Cut that out. But so I think it's really great that you see it as well.
Yeah.
The donut scene, Katie McGrath, the way she, I don't know,
Someone pointed out that the editing on that was just really choppy, because or the continuity, because the donut was moving all over the place.
Yeah. That I don't care about continuity.
But yeah,
I never do.
I mean, I'm not completely blind. I mean, yeah. So
I don't know. I think we'll find out in the end. But I don't. As of right now, I don't think it's queerbaiting.
I think I'm really sensitive to it just with this channel.
No.
Because the CW.
You're sensitive with it.
Yeah. If I'm sensitive, I can't imagine for you.
Well, the younger generation. It's a very fine line. But no, we'll find out in the end, and it's tough with an actress like Katie McGrath.
Yeah,
because she really truly does have. I've seen her in interviews.
It's the same way with Merlin. We just watched Merlin, and everyone she has. It looks like she has a thing with Arthur. She looks like she has a thing with Merlin.
Merlin.
Yeah,
and then there's times with Guinevere.
Yeah. So, it's all over the place.
Yeah, she just oozes it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
While we're talking about that, last thing I want to touch on, AfterBuzz review, the chat room brought up, is it Checkmate? Is that an organization?
Oh,
that maybe she is a member of Checkmate, because that's
okay.
From Smallville.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe this is her angle all along. I will point out that wardrobe plays a factor in a lot of things. And if you pay attention to Lena, she has been businesslike, but she has been in soft materials. And in that last scene, after her mother's gone,
leather. She
is not just leather, but just the whole setup was very, very, very Morgana. Very evil Morgana.
That's a good way to put it. I really wish they'd stop doing that with shows, though. But
agreed, but it's part of storytelling.
Yeah, it is.
Overall, I enjoyed this episode. I thought I didn't think I was gonna like getting a Luthor-centric episode as much as I did, and other than the plot holes, why did Cyborg Superman and Lillian take off on a helicopter?
Ew.
He can fly, can he not?
I don't know. I skipped that episode.
Maybe he can't fly. Wait a minute. I don't think we've seen him fly. Anyways, there are definitely some plot holes, and yes, we nitpick a lot because we are huge fans.
It really does come from a wanting more. So,
anything else on this before we jump into Arrow? Buckle up, folks, because I have a head theory, a head canon on how this is about to go. How'd you feel about Arrow this week, Jadon?
I'm not sure. I really like it in some parts. That's like last week's episode with there's some episode, but I really liked some of it. I really disliked some of it, but I felt like it was a good episode.
Yeah?
It was okay, yeah. Did you hate it?
I wouldn't say I hated it, but I kind of got to bring something up real quick.
What?
Jade and I have had conversations off screen, and we decided not to do a Supergirl analysis on why you don't like it that much. One of the biggest things that you've brought up, though, is that they push political agendas, and the one example that you are set on is that guns are bad.
Yeah.
And I still have yet to see any guns are bad anything in Supergirl, because Alex loves her guns.
It's the Parasite episode, I think. I think it's the Parasite episode.
But this whole freaking episode is a political statement. Yes, it gives you both sides of the coin,
yes,
but it's a political statement.
That's what pushes it over the edge for me, is because oftentimes with Supergirl, it is my way or the highway. If you don't think this way, then you are unevolved or... With
the show or with the character?
With the show.
Because I disagree. Yes, Supergirl, the character is like that, and I think you chalk that up to youth and inexperience. Just like James is so set that every Luthor is a bad Luthor, because he was hurt in the Superman thing.
I think it's the show, though. I think it's the show itself.
Okay.
But I'll tell you why I didn't hate this episode. Because was that, like you said, they presented both sides, and I feel like they presented both sides fairly equally. It was leaning more towards left, I felt like, than the right. Mm-hmm. And obviously I'm conservative, so, but...
I'm Felicity in this.
Yeah, just stop
talking about it. Nothing's ever going to be concluded in this.
The show also gives a perfect example of what I hate what the CW does, is what Curtis did as a character. He's just attacking Renee, and just he's just one of those people where you can't have a conversation with him about it. It's just, guns are bad, guns kill people, and I have to show you why I believe this, and you should believe it too.
He has never once spoken against gun violence yet, and he goes with Renee and Diggle constantly.
Yeah, half the members on his team use guns.
Or have Oliver.
albeit rubber bullets, but still.
They used to not be.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing that I was excited about, and fine, we didn't have quite the argument that we were going to have. But I wrote on here, what did I write? In all caps, if Jadon doesn't bitch about this political agenda! Exclamation point.
I have plenty to say about Curtis, along the lines of what I just said, but, it was a really kind of a tug of war during the episode, because I was like, I'm really with this, and I was like, ugh, what are they doing? And then, this is pretty good, and then, ugh. So it was the whole episode, but at the end I ended up going, okay.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, actually. I enjoyed the episode. I felt like they were definitely hitting us on the head with the political agenda.
Yeah.
The whole episode was centric on it. But I enjoyed the way it was done. I liked that we had a cop that was semi on Curtis's side.
Yeah, and then I liked how another cop came in and said, well, I don't think that's quite right.
Yep.
I like how they balanced it.
And last week I asked if we were going to get a Wild Dog backstory, and bam!
Yeah. I admit, when I looked at the synopsis for this episode, I was like, this sounds terrible.
So we got, within the previews, just the way that they were, the previously on, were about Wild Dog, and I was like, we get a backstory! All of the flashbacks were Wild Dogs.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the flashbacks. What I did not enjoy is they cut to them at odd times. Yeah,
it was really weird sequencing.
Yes.
Not editing. People make that mistake.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an editing problem. That's a sequencing problem.
That's a storyboard.
Yeah. That was one of my problems with it. And then another was the way that he is acting with the kid. because she seemed much older than the way he treated her.
She's almost taller than both her parents.
Yeah, and it's like, and like, he looks like he's about to get down on a knee to like talk to her, but he's like, honey, sweetie.
It was a little over the top.
Yeah.
All of his other acting, though, phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great.
He did a great job. I didn't connect that much with that story.
Yeah,
like, how at the end of it, I feel for him that he's lost his daughter. I feel for him that his wife was, that part of it. But it seemed very disjointed the way they did it.
Yeah, it should have been, I felt like they should have done more of a just cut down the amount of flashbacks and then have one sequence where maybe when he's talking to Curtis and tells him why he thinks guns are necessary, and then do a flashback, like a more full.
Exactly,
full
like when
flashback.
they pan to him in the middle of the fights, the middle of the gun scene in the mayor's office.
Yeah, it's like,
and it jumps to a flashback.
What triggered that memory?
Yeah, exactly. And also, and I don't know, this one might be an editing thing, or actually this is probably more writing. You don't walk in with your daughter, whether you have a junkie wife or not, you don't walk in with your daughter to that on your floor and be that calm. If you have a gun in your safe, you're going to get the gun.
Yeah.
Also,
go get your pajamas on.
When he goes to get his, well, you're going to do that. You're going to tell her.
No, I mean...
Or you're going to put her to sleep, or you're going to keep her at ease. Because he might have just been, maybe he walked into his wife, throwing a temper tantrum before. But I'm sorry, you're going to go get you. Alex Danvers grabbed her gun when someone knocked on her door. I have family members who were police officers that if they had a knock on their door in the middle of the night, they walked with their gun. He's going to go get his gun.
Yeah.
However, when he gets there, he's punched in the damn code already. Then the screaming happens, and he comes around the corner without his gun. You're not going to do that.
Yeah.
You're not. You would have taken the extra time. Now you're definitely going to have your gun.
Yeah, and it doesn't really jive because he was a soldier, so, he should know proper
that's what I'm saying, all that stuff.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
So it was that part kind of took me out of it a little bit. And what really got me, though, let's just finish up on the flashbacks real quick, is I know that they said the reason he got into vigilantism is because he was looking for the guy who killed Damien Dark.
Yeah.
But that was so dumb. He finds out that he can't get his daughter, and then he just happens to see it happen on TV.
I was a little more okay with that.
Where's the connection?
I don't know.
Exactly. So that I was just like, no.
It made sense to me when I was watching it. Like, it felt fine.
It didn't.
More so than when Malcolm was watching TV. Yeah. So maybe that's what I was comparing it to. But I felt okay with it. But despite all those issues with the way that they presented it, I really liked it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I really like the characters, because instead of Curtis and Artemis and Ragman, there's actually substance to his character. Mm-hmm. And it's not just, this is my backstory, but now I'm just going to stand here to the side and, I'm just a character on the team. There's more to him.
Agreed. And I like that he is, what the hell he's the assistant
to the deputy mayor.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
When he pulls out his gun, I was like, why does he have a gun? And then Thea calls him out on it. I'm like, okay, fine. I scratched that.
What's her problem?
I loved her in this episode.
I did too. Dragon lady.
Are we prosecuting him when she sees Wild Dog in there? I love that we still get brother and sister Oliver. However, it still doesn't make any sense that she is a grown ass woman all of a sudden.
Yeah. But yeah, I did really like her in this episode, even though she kind of wasn't in the episode, but
right.
She was.
But at least she's back a little bit.
But yeah, I liked her comments towards Susan, calling her a dragon lady, and it makes her feel ill. So I liked all that.
Oh, the vomit.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Very good comedic timing. Please come back, Willa. Please come back. I was really hoping she was gonna kick the shooter's ass, because Oliver can't do it. Why he's mayor. Yeah. I was like, maybe Thea will do it. No.
What did you think about that whole storyline with the shooter? Because so this is gonna sound really weird and twisted, but I'm so happy that they killed people.
We talked about it now.
In City Hall. Because in Supergirl, you have Metallo shooting people with radiation, mm-hmm. and it's just knocking people over.
Yeah.
But, I tend to swing more towards serious comic book stuff, like the Netflix shows and all that, where there's actual consequences.
Mm-hmm. Not everything works out for the better.
So I liked that there's like, this is kind of like a Columbine moment and, well, I guess episode. And there's...
Columbine, Sandy Hook.
Just
Orlando.
Just naming one, but yeah, I'll go through the list.
Well, and then there was, what was the line? Oh my gosh, I should have wrote it down. About how American, oh wait, no, maybe it was on AfterBuzz that I heard it. Anyways, but they said something along the lines of, Americans are the ones that are always griping about, it's gonna happen, and it happens more here than anywhere. It happens more here than in war-torn countries. But anyways, I'm Felicity. I really am, though. She had her moment. She had a few times where she said something.
This is the one episode where I did not mind her.
I figured you didn't, actually.
I had nothing bad to say about Felicity.
Yeah.
Wow. How about that?
Except they keep the little zoom in on the flash drive, so we know that's coming. Oh, wait, look, I was like, weird spot for a flashback.
This was more of a Green Arrow episode, like where he was actually more like Green Arrow than Batman. Because in the comic books, everyone sees him as kind of a hippie. He's very much an activist, and like in the animated show Justice League, where he gets taken up to the Watchtower, and he's like, "What the hell, guys? Why do we have a satellite watching over the entire planet? Like, what's going on? We're not the man or whatever." Like, he's very much that kind of guy, and so this felt more like true to form.
I like that he saved the day as the mayor.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
A very nice touch, and I believed it, and I really liked the way that he handled the press. I was waiting for him to say it. Oh, real quick. So I was waiting for him to tell the press exactly what he told them. It's like, I do owe it to their lives and to their families. I do not owe it to you. Because he doesn't. When Maggie is arresting Lena, when Detective Sawyer is arresting Lena, and her girlfriend's sister keeps calling her Maggie after she says official business, all I wanted was her to look at her and just go, Detective.
That would have been nice.
It would have been awesome.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that part.
Well, it just reminded me, because I got it in Arrow, I did not get it in Supergirl. I liked that tension. It would have been nice to get a scene after that was just like, hey, we good, little Danvers? Or something. But again, it's Supergirl.
Yeah, so I really like that, how he shut down the press, because it's very much a commentary about today, and how the press are just a bunch of clickbaity vultures.
Gosh. It's so awful.
It is bad.
It's like Snapper Carr, just throwing out a headline to catch your attention instead of... it's not as bad.
He has more integrity than that, though.
And I would hope so.
It's really a bad time for me with all the Ben Affleck news, but... which is not true, by the way.
What?
John Campea from Collider dropped news. News is not news.
Oh, he's mad at John Campea, guys.
Yeah, for once. But he even said, like, I'm not actually mad at him, but like he said, this is not a rumor. This is a rumor. I heard it from someone who heard it from someone who heard it from someone that Ben Affleck does not want to be Batman anymore, and he's trying to get out of it. And then every news outlet grabbed that and said Ben Affleck's not going to be Batman anymore. So
everything is clickbait nowadays.
Yeah,
but it doesn't.
But then the episode went ahead and ruined that kind of, because Curtis was the one that had the line that said, I wrote it down, it was, impolitic to be political. It was near the end.
He said what?
He's talking about how he's talking to Felicity, and he said, it's impolitic to talk politics. And that was...
It's like, you have been spewing political agenda the entire time.
And it's like, because it rubbed me wrong, because he is the worst example of that, because he's one of those people where he's not the kind of person that would listen to your opinion and talk to you about it politically, and you can have a nice debate, like he's preaching about.
Yeah. But let's get back on topic. As much as that happened in this episode, I mean, it's all focused on the one thing.
Yeah.
So other than the one other storyline that we'll touch on in just a second, which is Diggle and Black Canary, this is all we have to talk about. Going back to how I felt about the shooting storyline, I felt like it was just a plot device.
The shooting?
Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, you gotta do it, and I'm glad that it got aired, and there have been several instances where Supergirl actually pulled their bombing episode after the Paris bombs.
Yeah.
And Buffy pulled their school shooting episode in season 3 after Columbine, actually.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yep, it was a...
Has there been a shooting lately? There was the fake one.
Well, there was the Orlando one, I think, is the most...
So like
the most devastating that happened recently, and that was in June.
I think the only shooting that's happened recently was the shooting in Canada. Was it Canada?
The Muslim?
No.
Because that happened.
What's Trump? The one he's talking about.
Oh, Bowling Green?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I felt like it was just a plot device. I didn't connect with the story. I didn't... Like, I got it. It made sense. You know, you don't want to live anymore, and you feel that that's the only way that you're going to get an anti-gun law passed is to kill everybody, to show them why guns are bad.
Yeah.
So it made sense, and it gave us all a good Oliver storyline. Why is the AD shot?
The what?
Why is the AD shot?
The 80s shot?
AD.
Oh, he
What
was
is
shot
his
in
name?
the...
Yeah, but what does that do?
Andre?
That just... No,
Or
Billy.
Yeah, I know. His character's name is Andre or something.
I don't know. Anyways.
But yeah, Billy. You shot Billy, you dicks.
Is he shot just so that we don't know that he's Prometheus, or so we find out he's Prometheus sooner? Who's the guy? So
I don't know.
the guy in the mask is the shooter, right? Who's the guy in the mask?
The guy in the mask was just the Edlin guy. Who
No.
You're not gonna...
I thought it was Slade Wilson at first.
No, that was Edlund.
So that is him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same guy.
So we've seen him before.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what I thought was weird was that, and they touched on it, was that Quentin didn't say anything when he saw that guy. Saw him walking to the elevator.
He's a cop, yeah, and he was so mad at himself. Yep.
Yeah.
What was it? But no, I don't know. I did enjoy it. It had really good, decent writing, really good acting for the most part. I enjoyed the tension. It just felt so over the top political.
Yeah, it did kind of fall flat.
Even though they did do a good job of giving us both sides. I liked the Congresswoman. I really liked her character. The Congresswoman that Oliver locks him.
Yeah, I liked her.
I liked the way he approached that. We got to see a little him actually being a mayor.
I think it would have been a better episode, more relatable episode, if they had focused more on Edlund and less on the guns. Mm-hmm. But just talk about him and his family. Because that's what I feel like would be a really good message with guns, would be to focus on mental illness and the use of guns, rather than just guns themselves and them being bad or not. There's that focus on the people behind it.
Because that's the issue.
Yeah. So I think that probably will fix it for me. It would make it more relatable.
So what about the Diggle and Dinah?
It was good. It was nice. I mean, it was just kind of like, okay, it's there. And but it was nice. There was a nice nod to Dinah and her job in the comic books, which is she owns a flower shop. And so she was talking about how she really wanted a garden and stuff like that. So
Gotcha. What do we think about her joining the SCPD?
I don't see why, but sure. Yeah. Good on you, I guess.
You're gonna have a vigilante in the force now.
It didn't really click with me. I was like, but yeah, I guess she needs a job. She needs to do something.
What? They all need a job.
Yeah, what does Curtis do? Absolutely nothing.
What about Quentin being introduced to Dinah?
What do you mean?
Well, no one told him it's the new Black Canary.
Oh. Yeah.
And he didn't even have a reaction to his daughter's name.
Yeah, that was kind of a missed opportunity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was kind of weird that they just kind of skated over that, but yeah, because all he said was
you really opened the recruiting game, huh?
Yeah.
So does he? After Buzz brought it up that he knows that that's what Laurel wanted, was to train another Black Canary. Does he?
I'm not sure. I mean, like I said, I didn't finish season 4, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm a little hazy on who knew what about all that. So, but I guess he's okay with it.
I think that might be. That's all I got.
Is that all the rest of the episode?
That's what I was saying. Like.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, I guess it's... Oh, I did find out that, maybe I'm a little behind, but Worf, what's his name?
Who? What?
The guy that plays Worf on Star Trek. He does Prometheus' voice.
Who's Worf?
The
Which Star
Klingon.
Trek?
Enterprise, I mean, Next Generation, and I
Okay,
think he's
didn't
on
watch it.
Voyager. He's the Klingon.
Oh, I know Klingon.
Wrinkly.
No, I know, excuse me, I know the Klingon race. I do not speak Klingon.
That'd be awesome.
No.
I
I can barely speak English most days. I do not speak...
Yeah. I can barely talk about it.
What are they called? Fantasy languages.
Oh, but yeah, I found out that he voices Prometheus, which is cool. Do you really think that Prometheus is this guy that they're looking for? Because they mentioned that they're looking for that one guy's mother.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we really think that Felicity can't find her all of a sudden? And what is Curtis going to do to help?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I just really hope it's not Billy. So I think he's a really good addition to the cast.
But they have enough cast, and they got to bring one in and take them out. So.
Do they?
Yeah, they brought in Dinah and they kicked out Ragman.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, they can kick out Curtis. Yeah, that's.
They should. They brought in half the team and they got rid of Laurel. And stuff like that. And that's... Oh, we didn't talk... Good, here we go. Anything else on Arrow?
No.
Since it's interesting that you brought up the queer baiting, which I love that our dynamic right now, how do you feel about them taking James and Kara's relationship, which was an interracial relationship, and splitting them up for her to get with a white man? Do you even see it?
No, I don't think it's a... It drives me nuts if people see issues like that.
Yeah.
It's... Yeah, I don't think it's... Did someone bring that up?
Oh,
or
it's
anything?
all over Tumblr.
Are you kidding me?
All over Tumblr. That's the biggest issue with Mon-El. I like Chris Wood. I like Mon-El. I just don't feel that the actors have a ton of chemistry. When they were about to kiss, I was kind of cringing. But their banter chemistry is great.
Yeah.
We have both talked about how we do not like James Olsen.
Yeah.
We don't like his character. And a lot of people who... The minute you say you don't like James Olsen, someone out there says it's because he's black.
I don't see why people see issues like this.
I do and I don't. But here's the thing. It's not because they cast a black man for this iconic character. It's because they completely changed this character.
Yeah.
They didn't just, like, you want... Win is basically Jimmy Olsen. It's like, but you took a character that was a grown man. It wasn't like, the kid who got picked on in high school grew up to be the buff hot guy that, could now beat your ass.
Yeah.
He was already grown. And that is his character. He is just... I don't know. That's my issue with it. That and I'm not a fan of the actor. But that aside, it makes you wonder if they had introduced the same actor in a different role. Or same role, different name. Don't make him an iconic character, completely change him.
Yeah. They're so desperate to create diversity and representation that they completely just throw out story and storytelling and characters. I mean, it's like, look at what Star Wars is doing. They have their first two movies, now that they come back, are two women, but they're not, it doesn't revolve around them being a woman or anything. It's just a great character, and then it just happens to be a woman.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that people should be focusing on more, is just make a strong, good character, and then cast someone if it's the right person for the role, and whatever their race or gender may be, then great.
Yep, I agree. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on it because I thought, like I said, it's a very interesting dynamic that you don't see it, and I do, and then I'm not really seeing it, and you are. So, gotta love that. Because in case you haven't figured it out, Jadon's black, and I'm queer. Okay, anything else?
No, I might do a review for Lego Movie.
Heard it's really cute.
Yeah, I'm going to see it tomorrow, and I'm going to watch Justice League Dark, a new animated movie, so maybe I'll do a review for that. So look for those.
I have no time to watch anything.
That's all I do.
Alright, right, well, thank you again. And this week was heavy on Arrow and Supergirl. We got to talk a lot. We didn't have to cut ourselves short.
Yeah.
Hopefully we made sense. Got a little intense there for a minute. Plot holes. But like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, see you later.